Each time I read of a young person who's been bullied and harassed so brutally that they were compelled to take their own life, my heart breaks, both as a gay man and as a parent. I remember all too well the feelings of loneliness and isolation because I too endured the taunts of those who thought I was worthless. I'm grateful to columnist Dan Savage for suggesting that we all have the opportunity to speak directly to all the youth who are struggling and alone and assure them that it gets better. I grew up in the suburbs of South Florida, and I remember the very first time that I was called a faggot because I held my brother's hand as we walked to school. I was 6 years old and in the first grade. My brother was 8 years old and in the third grade. It was the first time that I was allowed to walk to school, and my mother told me to hold my brother's hand as we crossed a busy street. A group of boys followed us and hurled insults and threw things at us. It happened over and over again. We were too embarrassed to tell our parents, but as it persisted, we finally told an assistant principal. He told the boys they couldn't hit or throw things at us. But then the principal told me and my brother that words couldn't hurt us. And we got the message that hate speech was not worth complaining about. The bullying continued in middle school. I was now attending a magnet school, which meant riding the bus with middle school and high school kids. Riding the bus was the worst. Twice a day, it was a 45-minute descent into anarchy. I was bullied and roughed up by older kids, both boys and girls. Once, my mom bought me a Tupperware lunchbox, which was kind of expensive. The other kids thought it was queer, and so they threw it out the window of the bus. There was one particular kid who regularly terrorized me. He was about 3 years older than me, and one afternoon at school while I was waiting to get on the bus, he came up behind me and as hard as he could punched me in the side of the face. I went down, and I was stunned. I got up and I immediately told an administrator, and nothing happened. It got so bad that if I saw this guy outside of school at the shopping center or something, I would just run. Things were a little bit better in high school. I was a skinny, socially awkward, slightly obnoxious kid, but the powder puff football game was a tradition at our school. Every year, the girls would play football and the guys would dress up as cheerleaders. I guess part of being young means being really naive, because in my senior year, I thought it would be okay if I joined in. Because it wouldn't be just me, there would be lots of guys dressed up as cheerleaders. In fact, there were more than 30 guys in cheerleader drag. But at the end of the game, I was the only one they attacked. A group of guys hit me and ripped off my skirt in front of a huge crowd of people. And then they chased me across campus in my underwear, like a pack of wolves. I ran as fast as I could, because I can remember I had never been so afraid in my whole life. After that incident, nothing happened. No action was taken against the kids that did this to me. Nobody asked me if I was okay, and I was too humiliated to say anything to anyone. I was surrounded by messages that said that who I was not okay. So I told myself that it was a phase and that I would get over it. I was a good kid who did all the things that I was supposed to do. I was an Eagle Scout and an altar boy. I went to college and law school and passed the bar exam. I got married and had kids. I really wanted these things too. But I also thought that if I did all these things, then maybe I would fit in. But after 7 years of marriage, I finally had to accept who I am. And I had to be honest with myself and all of those around me. When I came out, I was terrified. If you would have told me 10 years ago how good my life would be today, I probably wouldn't have believed you. I thought I would have to sacrifice so much to live my life openly and honestly, but I was wrong. When I came out, I was worried about what people would think, but I was surprised to learn that people hardly cared. I was raised in a religious household, and I was a person of faith who struggled to reconcile my sexual identity with my religious teachings. Today, I'm still a person of faith, and I'm blessed to belong to a Lutheran church that welcomes and loves me just the way that I am. When I came out, I thought I'd have to give up my dreams of politics, but I ran for office anyway as an openly gay candidate in some pretty conservative suburbs in Virginia. Was I attacked for being gay? Yes. But in politics, you don't need to be gay for people to say stupid, hateful things about you. You usually just need to be breathing. I didn't win, but I'm lucky enough to have a career that I love, and one in which I'm respected in my field all across the country. You know, when I came out and got divorced, I thought it would cost me my family. But I was wrong about that, too. These are my kids. Matt's 14, and he's a skater, and he rows crew.
Hi.
Elizabeth is 10, and she loves horses and vampires and clothes and talking with her friends and talking and talking.
Hello. I only talk a lot because I have a lot to say.
Thanks, sweetie. They're both scary smart and funny, and I tell them all the time that the very best part of my life is being their dad. I love the time I spend with my kids, whether we're playing at the beach or camping in the mountains or singing in the car to somebody's latest favorite song, or just sitting at home eating ice cream and watching a movie from Netflix.
Ugly.
Or How I Met Your Mother.
And I wouldn't miss these times for anything in the world. Yes, I've had it rough, but it gets better. I have the most wonderful boyfriend who's on the other side of this camera, and we've been fortunate enough to travel all over, both with the kids and by ourselves. But the very best part is that at the end of a hard day, I'm lucky enough to have someone who can make me smile just by walking in the door. It gets so much better, and you can have the life you want. So please, stick around to see it.
It's cool to just be yourself. Just because some people are jerks doesn't mean you're all alone.
If you're being bullied, get help. Tell an adult that you trust, and keep telling until someone makes the bullying stop.
I just came back from my high school reunion, and the best part of going to my 25-year reunion, aside from being lucky enough to still have all my hair after 25 years, was the chance to see how people had grown and changed. You know, I went to my 10-year reunion with my wife at the time, and she said to me, "Boy, these people are really cliquey." And I said, "Really? I was thinking that they've never been so nice to me." Well, I went to my 25-year reunion with my boyfriend, and people were even nicer. You know, over the last couple years, people have come up to me and apologized for things they did to me years ago that I don't even remember. So it definitely gets better. If you're being bullied at school and can't get help, call the National Center for Victims of Crime at 1-800-FYI-CALL. And if things are so unbearable that you're thinking of hurting yourself, please contact the Trevor Project.
Hang in there.
It gets better.
And we're the living proof.